Hey there, welcome to Hovercast TCG, your place for quality TCG content and discussion for all ages. Today, we don't have Britt with us like normal, and instead we have a special guest. So, without further ado, I'll let Ben, our special guest, introduce himself.
Hi guys, I'm Benjamin Pham. I'm from the Netherlands. I'm part of Complexity Card Gaming Pokemon. I was national champion in 2015. I won some regionals and I competed worlds twice.
Okay, well, thank you for the introduction, Ben. And I guess now, without further ado, we have a lot to talk about today because we have two regionals and Australia to discuss. So let's get right into Collinsville regionals. So Collinsville, everyone going in, I think everyone basically thought that the three biggest decks were going to be Trevenant, Eviltal, and Toadbats. And that really didn't show up at Collinsville at all, really. The two biggest decks with 4 placements each were Mega Gardevoir and Lurantis, and that's not something that I don't think anyone expected. So, what did you guys think about the results this weekend at Collinsville and how everyone did basically, and how do you think that affects expanded in general? I don't know. It was a really weird tournament. That's all I have to say right now. It was really weird.
So the fact that the Lurantis deck was the biggest surprise to me. I really didn't see that deck coming out in the force that it did. From what I was told, it was pretty easily the most popular deck in the field. The Lurantis Vileplume deck was. I mean, clearly Volcanion was able to capitalize on that. There were a handful of those in day 2 as well. I think there were 3. It was Ryan, Brad, and Raul, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that deck clearly smashed the grass stuff. I think moving forward, decks will clearly be looking to counter Mega Ray and Decidueye Vileplume, and going with the Vileplume is also the Lurantis Vileplume deck, right? So I think that moving forward, decks just have to be able to beat Lock, but also they're going to want to beat Mega Ray. It's going to be weird how decks are going to adapt to that. I think that maybe even Gardevoir might see a resurfacing and expanded, in which it hasn't been in there in a very long time. But in standard, the way people deal with Mega Ray is Garb Parallel, and a good way to deal with Vileplume is getting a Trubbish float out earlier and then evolving into Garb. I'm not entirely certain how to go about dealing with the Decidueye Vileplume deck other than Garb or just playing a bunch of Hex like the Mega Ray deck did. Seems really good, and it seems like it'll be tough to adjust to moving forward.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about Mega Ray Quazo winning? Because I don't think anyone really expected that to win, and I don't think it really should have. He made it to 9-0 first on the first day. Alex Wilson, congratulations to him, by the way. That was an amazing achievement. But I really don't see how he did it. I don't think the meta was really favorable for it. Do you think he just feasted on all these Lurantis decks to make it to day 2, or how do you think Mega Ray Quazo had the success it did? Because I didn't see it coming. I still don't see how it did it. So.
I mean,
with Mega Gardevoir being the most played, makes sense, right?
Yeah,
4 of them.
I guess it takes advantage of Mega Gardevoir too. Yeah.
And we went to Velcro, we played 2 Hex and Jirachi, so at some point he can recycle it and just overcore everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with that. I mean, Gardevoir was clearly very popular. That Lurantis deck can't really deal with being one shot. It seemed like it wouldn't have been very good against what we thought the expected field was, with it being Toad, Trevenant, Eviltal. But it was really, really good against what the field actually was. So he clearly made a really amazing call, or just I don't know Alex Wilson very well. I mean, I know that there are some people that just play Mega Ray to play Mega Ray, right? There are always those people that play Mega Ray. And I'm not sure if he played Mega Ray just because he likes to play Mega Ray, or if he just next leveled everybody at the event. But regardless, he clearly killed it. So
yeah, he's won 2 regionals, both with Mega Ray Quazo. So
right?
Yeah, he beat my friend Edwin Lopez in the finals of Massachusetts regionals last year, and he beat Night March in the finals of that one with Mega Ray Quazo.
Oh, how?
He hexed him. He gets his hand to 0, I think.
Roasted.
Yeah, just expand stuff.
Yep, just expanded stuff.
Just expanded things.
So the next deck I want to talk about is Aerodactyl Talonflame, a deck that I don't think anyone expected to see ever show up in a top 32 of a regional, and it got 2 placements, not just 1, 2, by Grafton Rule and Mike Canavis, both of Team ARG. So what do you guys think about that deck? Personally, I've played against Mike in a Hayfonte circuit tournament, and he was playing that deck, but I was playing Toadbats, and that matchup is very, very easy. He didn't play Marowak at the time. Which I think he does now, which if he goes first and he gets that out, that's actually really, really good. But it was really easy for me when I was playing against him. I just tossed that deck aside. I didn't really consider it at all. I told him it was a cool concept, but I didn't really think it was going to be, tournament viable. I thought it was just a pet deck. And, here he was. So how do you guys think this made it to top 32? Because I don't see this having good matchups against any of the field like that actually showed up. I don't see it. Because none of them play Special Energy. Except for Mega Rayquaza, but I don't know how many of them he played.
So I think, like, the Aerodactyl deck, like, part of it, the reason it's really good is because it can just set up a bunch of non-EX that just kind of, like, smash for 120 every turn. So, like, the fact that you have to deal with 6 non-EXs and they're all doing 120 a turn and potentially removing your energy, I think it just kind of, like, grinds you out, right? Like, the only EX they play is Shaman, and they don't really have to put it down. So I think it's like the combination that it's like grindy to play against, that people didn't really know what they were playing against, and the fact that, I don't know, that the two of them are just also really good players. I think like those 3 factors combined kind of like make a deck like that, when you pilot it well, like a pretty easy top 32. But like, I think that once they got into the top 32, they kind of they played against people that kind of were prepared to beat that kind of a deck, that kind of like super heavy item deck.
I was going to say, Lurantis Vileplume seems to absolutely destroy that deck, because Lurantis one-shots an Aerodactyl. And Vileplume, obviously, they can't Marowak around that, so...
And against Mega Gardevoir plays 4 Max Potion, and they're never going to one-shot it, right? So
yeah.
The Gardevoir, like, that's got to be a really, really boring matchup for the Gardevoir player, because they're just like, Max Potion attack. Like, I got like 6-0'd twice by it. Like, I don't really see them like taking prizes against Gardevoir without loot before they lose.
So what are the good matchups for this deck?
That's what I'm saying. I don't see good matchups. I don't think this deck has a single good matchup, which is I don't see why they did so well. Like, kudos to them, because
it's just probably like fine against Eels, right? Because Gallade just is good against the whole deck. It's probably fine against like Espequin. Yeah, they did. They played Marowak. Of course, they played Gallade.
They played like 2 Gallades.
They played 2 Gallade, Archeops, and Marowak.
I guess the Archeops can stop the Vileplume deck.
Yeah, that's a good point. If they go first, they can just plume it.
Yeah.
If they go against something with Tauros, they just Gallade it.
I'm sure Lurantis Vileplume had a way around Archeops, though. There's no way that deck can be built without having a way around Archeops.
I mean, Kettler's deck didn't. He's just like, I'll just lock him.
He took the loss to Archeops. That's crazy.
I don't think he like played 4 Evo Soda.
No, but you could play a Hex or 2.
No, I don't think he played any of those cards.
Wow. Okay.
I think he just
he played Decidueye Vileplume, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the strategy is the same. You Vileplume them before they are, right?
That's true. But yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to say about Aerodactyl Talonflame?
Ben loves Aerodactyl Talonflame.
I like the one laser and the one muscle band.
Lasers and better plus power.
Yeah. The one Dunsparce.
Okay.
Hashtag Europe, right?
It does look like Europe a little bit. We'll get to that in a bit. But the last thing I want to talk about for Collinsville is the lack of Seismitoad, really, in top 32. There was only one Seismitoad deck, and it was a Toad Decidueye deck, not even Toadbats, which is the better version. Sorry, Alex Szymanski. I know you did well with it, but it's still not a good deck. What do you guys think about the disappearance of Seismitoad? Do you think it just was because Lurantis showed up in heaps, or do you think Seismitoad is just not a good deck overall, or was it just a bad meta call?
There was also one Toadtina, actually.
Oh, there was a Toadtina?
Yes.
Why would someone play Toadtina?
I don't know.
Because Giratina's good.
Toad's good, Tina's good.
Against Ray and Gardevoir.
If you want to play Giratina, a better Tina deck is Dartina. Dartina's really, really good and expanded. Why wouldn't you play that? Like, Toadtina is just a
because
strictly
Gallade
inferior
was
deck than
everywhere
any
on
other
the
Toad
weekend.
deck.
Gallade was everywhere on the weekend, so Darkrai was too risky.
I guess. I don't know. Either way, let's get back to the point. Like, why do you think there was so much Seismitoad? Do you think it was because of Lurantis, or do you think it was just a bad play now? It's not good in this meta.
What do you think, Ben?
There's also the Decidueye as well, I guess.
Yeah, that too. So
I
do
don't
you
know
think
why.
do you think it's just driven out of the format right now because of all these grass attackers?
I think that's part of it.
It's really hard for Toad to beat it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah.
Decidueye stuff. So
Yeah, I think I agree. Unfortunately, I think I have to put Tobats aside for now until grass decks get out of the meta. So hopefully you guys all keep on playing Volcanion to help me out so I can play Toads again. So keep it up, guys.
Just play something.
But now I think we've talked a lot about Expanded. I can talk a little bit about my own tournament report. I went 2-3 drop with Lurantis Gallade. It was a deck that we had been talking about and creating for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, me, Britt, and Travis. We expected a meta full of Yveltal, Seismitoad, and Trevenant, and that's what this deck really beats. And that wasn't what the meta came out to be. So we made a really bad meta call. Lurantis Vileplume was definitely a better Lurantis version for this tournament. It's something that we need to just learn from, Britt and myself, moving forward, and how to correctly predict a meta. It was something I used to pride myself on, being a really good meta predictor, but I guess not so anymore. So hopefully for the next tournament that I go to, I'll be able to change that. But yeah, that was really my Collinsville experience. It was very dreadful. Not a lot of fun because of that. I did play against 2 fans of the show. I can't remember their names right now. I think Jackson Paulson was the first was the guy playing Mega Ray. So thank you, shout out to him. And I'm sorry I can't remember your name, but you were playing Decidueye Toad, and you did a really good job. And you're from Texas. I can't remember your name, but thank you so much for your kind words. It really meant a lot to me. Thank you everyone for supporting us. I just wanted to put that in there. That's a really good place to talk about it, I guess. We all really appreciate the support. But without further ado, let's get into Sheffield. So, Ben, you went to Sheffield. Do you want to talk about your experience at Sheffield?
correct. Sheffield was the 10th regionals in Europe. I think it's the biggest regionals we ever had, with 303 masters. I know that's not a lot for the US players, but that's the biggest in Europe. I did actually quite well. I finished 18th in the regionals. I played Gardevoir, just a straight version with 4 Shame and 2 Hoop. No Sycamore.
No Sycamore, really?
Yeah, I played Lily.
Oh.
I didn't want to discard Gardevoir, and Mega Turbo, so I just keep them in the deck.
Did you like the heavy count of Lily? Were you were a big fan of it?
I'm a big fan of it because you won't discard anything you need, and
Yeah.
the turn 1 all you need is energy and Spirit Links,
Mm-hmm.
and turn 2 is the most important turn, so you need the Mega Gardevoir in your hand.
Actually, that sounds cool. I don't
Yeah,
hate
that's
that.
actually really... I never thought of that, but that's something I'm going to try out. That's actually really cool. So, what do you think about the incredibly Darkrai heavy meta that was Sheffield? 7 Darkrai in Top Cut. That's a lot. And 2 Umbreon as well, so 9... Oh, I guess, and the Dragonair deck.
7
the 19
Darkrai.
Too.
the Dragonair deck, I can't forget that. That was incredible. So 10 out of the 32 top decks were some sort of dark deck. Why was that? Why do you think dark is so good?
I think it's quite expected after Anaheim, where we did see a lot of Darkrai and Darktino winning actually. I don't think we
Oh, Ben, you there?
any Darktino.
Sorry, you broke up. Can you repeat what you just said?
No, they're all straight Darkrai's, I think. So that's surprising, even though they were hello?
Hey, sorry, you cut out for a bit. Can you repeat what you just said?
It was quite expected that there would be a lot of Darkrai.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of Tina on day 1, but I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's sometimes that happens when we have international calls. You can't help it. So, but yeah, basically what I think you were trying to say, I'll try to recap it, is that Dark was just a really expected play after Anaheim. It was just a really good deck, and because it's just such a good deck, that's why it took up so many spaces. Am I correct, basically?
Correct.
Okay. Cool.
I mean,
So, Another deck that I want to talk about that I don't really know much about, but also had the second most placements, or tied for the second most placements, was Xerneas Gardevoir. I didn't think that type of Gardevoir deck was good. Do you know anything about that deck? Did you happen to play against any, and do you know why the people who played it chose to play it?
I didn't play against any, but I know the deck has a really good dark.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it definitely has like a super good dark matchup. I'm not sure if it's. I think it's like largely worse
Because
against.
it can like OHKO all dark stuff, or it has like resistance. And they play XP share, so they can open multiple AXs and
Okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Sorry about all the technical difficulties, guys. But yeah, that definitely does make sense. I can see how it has a really good dark matchup. Do you know if they played the Klefki that reduces damage from dark Pokemon?
That's expanded, my dude.
That's only expanded? Okay.
Yeah.
I get my Klefkis confused sometimes. But that deck seems really good. The last deck I want to talk about at Sheffield before we move on to Australia and what we think the best decks are for that is 2 Houndoom decks. Travis, I know you've been messing with Houndoom a lot. Do you want to talk about Houndoom?
I think the Houndoom.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about Houndoom, Travis, for a bit?
Houndoom has like a huge boost.
I mean, I like messed around with Houndoom when I first saw it get top 16 at what is it? The London Intercontinental.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't think that Houndoom deck is any good. I mean, I think that it just kind of like if you know how to like manage your resources when you're playing the game, then you're probably not going to lose to it. But I mean, it definitely helps capitalize on decks like Mega Ray and on decks like Gardevoir that kind of like burn through their deck really quickly. I mean, like I don't really see it being like beating any kind of like Vileplume variant, right? Like I don't think it can beat like any dark variant at all, because like Darkrai plays the Oblivion Wing. Like I have no idea how they even beat that. Like I largely don't think it's like a super great deck, but I think it can like capitalize on people not knowing how to play against it, which might be a reason why it continues to do well.
Yeah, like Ben was saying, Gumshoe potentially adds something. Do you think Gumshoe makes the deck even worth testing, or do you think the deck is just kind of a European meme, I guess, as we in the US might say?
It's our Aerodactyl is what it is.
It's our Aerodactyl, okay.
It's their Aerodactyl.
I think the Gumshoe adds a lot to the deck, actually. Like, the whole card.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at your opponent's hand and it has no strategy like too, because the Gumshoe just OHKOs it with the GX attack.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been saying for a long time, I think the GX
And there's like some
attack is
fun
actually-
combos with Gumshoes into... You don't know what it does?
The
Yeah.
attack? Yeah, no, I think the attack is really good. I've been saying for a long time I think the card is good, but everyone else thinks the card is... I don't know. I've had a lot of people tell me that the card is just not as good as I think it is. I'm not sure how much I like this Houndoom deck personally. I don't think Mill is very good right now. And if I was going to play a Mill deck, I would probably play some type of Raticate deck, because I think Raticate's just a better card. But I think Gumshoe is a good card, and I do think it adds something to the Houndoom deck, but again, I don't think the Houndoom deck is just overall very good. But yeah, I guess that's all we have to talk about for Sheffield. And with that out of the way, let's go into Australia, because there's an Intercontinental this weekend, and a lot of people are traveling for it and are preparing for it. So a lot of people want to know what we think the best play is for Australia. So, Travis, what do you think the best play is, or the best plays, and why?
I think the best play for the weekend is probably Gardevoir. I just think it like beats everything that got top 8 in Anaheim. I think that it does the only thing that really came out of the woodworks for from Sheffield was the Decidueye Vileplume, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
I think that deck you can kind of like play 2 Hex in Gardevoir and still beat it. I mean, like you play Skyfields, you play a bunch of Pokemon. If they come up with Tauros, you can one-shot it. Because they don't play Fury Belt. You exchange with Lugia well, because for a DC it only does 80. And then they would have to attach and Deep Hurricane you. So like that's kind of a lot of investment for them, for it just to be like exchanged with pretty easily. Like the Decidueye pings are annoying, but I think with 2 Hex, kind of like what Ben was talking about earlier, you can just kind of like chain them, right? Like I feel like if you can Hex 2 turns in a row, then you're just gonna win the game. And so I mean, Mega Ray can do the same thing against the deck, arguably better because it one shots much easier. But I think that Mega Ray just has worse matchups against the field. Gardevoir is insanely popular in Standard, right?
Yeah.
And Ray can't beat Garb Parallel, but all of the decks that like capitalize on Garb Parallel, Gardevoir destroys. So I think that Gardevoir is just like better against the meta, even though Mega Ray is like a better Skyfield deck, right? So I think I would play that, or I would just play something very similar to the Mewtwo list I played in Anaheim, because I think Mewtwo beats that Decidueye deck too. So I think either one of those would be a great play.
Yeah. Speaking of Decidueye, Ben, you were saying off camera that you really like that Decidueye deck. If you were going to Australia, would you consider playing that deck? Oh, I think we lost Ben.
Would you play that Decidueye deck, Eric?
To be honest, I don't.
I think he only lost one game, like all
Oh,
events.
there we go. There you are. Sorry, go ahead.
Really?
What were
He
you
only
saying?
lost one game all event?
I think he only lost now one match, actually one round, you know.
Oh wow.
Wow.
And it got second in Collinsville as well, the deck.
Yeah, John
So
Kettler
that's
played
a lot
it. He played it at Anaheim too. I think to a top 16 finish. I want to say.
He did. Yep.
So, the deck definitely has a bunch of potential. I personally don't know enough about it to consider playing it, but I think it beats a deck that I would definitely consider playing myself. I think Vesterquin is a really, really good play because it's just really. It's the only non-EX abuser in the format, really, besides for like Gyarados, I guess, but Gyarados isn't really a deck. So, and I think
It's
just
been
being
a
able
second
to,
actually
Yeah,
in
it is.
the regionals.
Don't tell Jose that.
I know I shouldn't tell Jose that, or Medi. I think Medi got second at
Yeah.
in Sheffield, but I don't think Gyarados is very good right now. But it's like one of the best non-EX attackers in the game, and I think just that alone makes it worth considering. I really like the Eevee version. I love Espeon in GX. I think that card is made for Eevees. For Vesterquin. So I think that version of the deck. I don't like Zoroark very much. I don't think I would play Zoroark. I think I would just max out on my Vesterquin line, maybe play like double Revitalizer, something like that, instead of playing the Zoroarks. I think that version is just a really, really good version of the deck. I would probably play that, but like I said, I think Decidueye Vileplume absolutely craps on that deck. So if you think Decidueye Vileplume is going to be a threat, don't play Vesterquin. But I think Vesterquin's a really good play. If not, I would probably default back to Eviltal because I know Eviltal and it's just really solid overall. But yeah,
Sure.
sorry, you were talking about Decidueye.
Yeah, I think
before
Eviltal Gardevoir is still really solid.
Oh, yeah, Eviltal Gardevoir is still really solid. Do you play Tauros in yours version, I'm assuming you do?
In Evil Tall Garb?
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I've
that was
heard
really
some
good
people
to
saying...
You have to play it. It's not
I've
even
talked
a
to some
question.
people who were like, oh, I don't think you need it. And I was just like, no, it's too good not to play. So I was just wondering. I totally agree. I think you
it's
have to
way
play
too good.
Tauros.
Tauros is actually the reason that the Gardevoir match was pretty close against the Gardevoir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tauros
Tauros and
is so good against Gardevoir.
Gardevoir.
Tauros and
Yeah.
Fury Belt is so good against Gardevoir. Tauros, Fury Belt, and Garb.
Gardevoir.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gardevoir's like, well, I guess I'm gonna die. Like they have, they can't not.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
gonna
it's
die,
just-
or I'm gonna take 140 to 160 damage from
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's gonna hurt. Tauros is just a really good card. But yeah, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about for Australia? Any deck you want to mention?
No, I mean,
Houndoom. Watch out for the Houndoom.
Watch out for Houndoom.
I wouldn't be surprised if Drew's Solgaleo deck popped up. So that's something to keep in mind. That deck does still exist. It did get top 16 in Anaheim. It is a good deck. I think that's all I really got to say. Just don't forget that deck exists, right? Like play it like a handful of games against it with whatever you're gonna play, and just make sure you're like aware of what the deck can do and like the timing of most of its stuff. Like when does it on average pull out Soul Burst? Like when should you expect like the chain of attack to 230s to start coming? Like what should you do at what point to try to like slow them down? I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Solgaleo is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ben, if you want to plug anything again, go ahead. Now's your time. Where can people find you, I guess? Oh, give us a second. Technical difficulties again. Sorry, guys.
I'm not really media, but I'm part of Complexity Card Gaming Pokemon. We have a Facebook page. You can visit it. I will post my list, I think tonight, actually. So if you're interested in the Gardevoir list, you can see it.
With 3 Lily. That's really
No,
interesting. I'm definitely going to check it out personally. I think 3 Lily is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a Twitter that you want anyone to follow?
I don't have a Twitter. So.
Okay. Well, then thank you guys all for tuning in to this week's episode of Hovercast. Good luck to everyone in Australia. We hope you all do well. All our listeners, we're rooting for you. And we will see you guys next week. See you guys.
See you later.
Goodbye, friends.